Hi friends, how are you doing? Thanks so much for joining me here for another Monday Moment. I hope that you had a great weekend and you're looking forward to another amazing week ahead of us. Well, I'm here in my office, and so, that means I have something I'd love to share with you today that helps me remember and helps me to look forward to something every single day that God can teach me. Well, what I want to share with you today is something that I worked very hard for. It took many years. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of effort. Sometimes I got really frustrated. Sometimes I was really excited about it. A few times I was even ready to quit, but I kept at it, and it was well worth all of that time and effort, even the frustration. And certainly when I received it, it was worth every single moment of the entire journey. And here's what it is. See that? This is my diploma from West Virginia Wesleyan College in Buchanan, West Virginia. This tiny little piece of paper represents 4 years of hard work and study and a lot of prayer. And finally, on a day in 2002, this piece of paper was handed to me, and it meant that I had earned my college diploma. And that was a big, big deal for me. I had worked really hard. I wasn't such a great student in high school. I actually didn't even really like school all that much. But all of that changed when I got to college, because I was studying something that I was excited about, something that I believe God had called me to, and I had great professors and I met a ton of great friends. And so this diploma is something that I am very proud of. Now, I spent 4 years in college learning and studying how to do my job that I'm doing right here at HZ right now. Christian education is the title of the diploma that I received, the major that I studied. And sometimes when we spend a lot of time studying something and we get something like a diploma or a certificate or even an A+ on the top of the test, sometimes we can think that we know everything there is to know about that particular subject or that particular thing. But guess what? God has created us to learn something new every single day. Sometimes God wants us to learn something every single moment of every single day. Do you ever think about that? I think it's really interesting that boys and girls, little kids that were growing up during especially the Old Testament time, they were taught that they had to obey the law. And by obeying the law and every single tiny little thing about the law, that's how they would grow closer in their relationship with God. And then Jesus is born and everything changes, right? Jesus shows up and he says, you've heard it said, or you've been taught, and this is what you think you know about the law. But I'm here to tell you, this is how you're supposed to love God. This is how you're supposed to grow in your relationship with me. One time, it was on the Sabbath day, the day that good Jewish boys and girls and their families, they would do nothing. It was God's day, right? They're just supposed to not work and spend the day with family and focusing on who God is. And Jesus is having dinner with his friends in the house of a Pharisee, and all of these people are watching him, right? And there's a man there in the room whose legs were really swollen and he couldn't walk. He had a lot of physical problems. And Jesus says, hey, is it permitted by the law for me to heal a man on the Sabbath day? Is that something that you're allowed to do? And of course, everybody in the room said, no, absolutely not. You're not allowed to do that. It's the Sabbath. Well, guess what? Jesus did it anyhow because he knew it was best for that man. And it didn't matter that the law said, don't do it. God knew that this man's legs needed to be healed. And so Jesus was able to do that, even though it meant breaking a law. All the people in that room had studied years and years and years and years. And then Jesus showed up and said, guess what? I have a better and bigger plan for you. Well, I spent a long time in college studying, and I've got the diploma to show it. But guess what? I learn something new every single day. And sometimes the things that I'm learning about how to do my job here at the church better, I learn from you. Sometimes I learn more from you guys, kids, than I do from any professor I ever could have had. Because God has called me to this work, and God is calling you to work too. And maybe that means you're going to study for a long time to do it, or maybe that means it will simply just happen. I don't know, but I do know this. God created me with a brain to think and to learn and to ask questions, and that's the same way He created you too. So we should use every day to learn, every day to think, every day to create, every day to ask questions. Because that's the way that we can really live the life that God has called us to live. So I'm proud of my diploma, but not as proud as I am of you. I'm proud of all the hard work that I've done to achieve the things that I've achieved in my life, but not nearly as proud as I am of the fact that every single day I have the opportunity, and I choose to take the opportunity to grow in my faith and learn more. So, what can you learn about God today? And what can you share about God with somebody around you? That's my challenge for you today. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you soon.